Imagine rebuilding a ruined city under threat in 52 days. No modern tools, no contractors, only a vision, fierce discipline, and a community. That was Nehemiah. Today you'll get his step-by-step playbook for planning, leading, and protecting high-stakes projects, practical project management lessons you can use starting from today. Rebuilding Jerusalem's wall wasn't just construction, it was project management under pressure, politics, logistics, sabotage, social inequality, and faith. In the next 60 minutes we'll read the story Nehemiah 1-7. 13. Extract 9 practical PM rules, and finish with a 30-day plan you can implement immediately to lead tougher projects with clarity and courage. Quick overview: who was Nehemiah and historical context. Nehemiah appears in the Hebrew Bible as cupbearer to the Persian king Nehemiah 1:11. 2-1. The narrative centers on his return to Jerusalem to rebuild the city walls after exile. The text names Artaxerxes as king Ned 2-1, and most scholars place Nehemiah's mission in the mid-5th century BCE, commonly dated around 445 BCE, though exact dating is debated. What matters for us is the scenario: a broken city, weak governance, and urgent strategic necessity. That's a project context any leader can understand. Comment vision: if you've ever discovered a problem no one else saw. Phase vision: seeing the problem and praying the priority. Nehemiah 1-2. Nehemiah's story begins not with a Gantt chart but with grief and prayer. When he heard about Jerusalem's broken walls, he sat down and wept. He mourned and fasted and prayed. Nehemiah 1-4. 2 leadership moves are crucial here. 1. Emotional engagement. Nehemiah felt the pain of stakeholders. That empathy turned into responsibility. 2. Alignment before action. He spent time reflecting and seeking alignment, spiritual or moral clarity, before mobilizing resources. Then Nehemiah gets access to the king. He requests leave, and critically, royal letters and timber for the gates. Nehemiah 2:5-8. 2 lessons. Vision without authorization stalls, and authorization opens resource channels. Project rule number 1. Frame the problem compellingly and secure a sponsor. Nehemiah convinced the king with a precise ask, timing, and a credible mission. Rule 1. Frame gives, sponsor gives ask. Phase 1. Assess and plan. The reconnaissance and design. Nehemiah 2:11-16. Nehemiah does reconnaissance. He inspects the ruins at night, quietly, and returns with a calculated pitch. You see the distress of Jerusalem, and a plan. Nehemiah 2:11-16. This is project scoping in practice. 1. Walk the site. Direct observation to validate assumptions. 2. Protect knowledge. He reconnoiters by night to avoid premature leaks and politicization. 3. Communicate a concise problem statement to stakeholders. The people needed a leader who could see the whole picture. Then he organizes. He assigns sections to families and guilds. 3. Not one central team. Smart modular design, parallel work streams, accelerates completion. Assess gives scope, gives modularized project. Rule number 2. Do a discrete, honest assessment before announcing the plan. Then break the work into independent streams. Phase 2. Mobilize resources and people. Nehemiah 2:17-3. Nehemiah's mobilization is brilliant in its simplicity. He calls the people, let us rise up and build. Nehemiah 2:17. The assignment list in Nehemiah 3 reads like a project roster. Each section of wall has named teams. The goldsmiths repaired their section, which demonstrates these project management techniques of stakeholder engagement. People repaired their own yards and gates. Ownership fuels speed. B. Skill alignment. Trades worked on areas matched to their capacities. A potter's line might repair a specific segment. C. Micro accountability. Each team held responsibility for their segment. Visible progress drives morale. Nehemiah also leverages existing social structures, families, guilds, temple servants, to staff the project cheaply and quickly. Type ownership. If your team fixes what it helps break. Project rule number 3. Mobilize through ownership. Assign clear, named work packages and let local teams own deliverables. Phase 3. Risk management and security amid sabotage. Nehemiah 4:26. Soon after work begins, enemies attempt to stop them, mocking, threats, conspiracy. Nehemiah 4:26. Nehemiah's risk playbook is thorough. 1. Dual mode staffing. Workers hold tools in one hand and weapons in the other when danger peaks. Nehemiah assigned half the men to build and half to guard, then rotated. Nehemiah 4:16-18. To psychological resilience, he prays and he encourages. The people had a mind to work. Nehemiah 4:26. Short morale rituals, public prayers, and visible leadership matter. 3. Counterintelligence and exposure. Nehemiah refused to attend a suspicious meeting. Nehemiah 6 and set traps for deceivers. He used transparency to expose sabotage. He also lowers non-essential visibility. When enemies mock, the builders answer with continued work, productivity as resistance. Rotate guards, maintain visible leadership, refuse traps. Project rule number 4. Anticipate sabotage, design security protocols, rotate guards, and keep your project visible only when helpful. Phase 4. Governance, equity and internal reform. Nehemiah 5:13. Midway, Nehemiah confronts an internal crisis, exploitation. The poor complain that the rich are charging interest and seizing fields. Nehemiah 5. His response combines moral authority, negotiation, and systemic reform. Protect the weakest. Nehemiah calls a large assembly and publicly exposes the injustice. He negotiates restitution. Model sacrificial leadership. He refuses to take the governor's food allowance and funds work from his own purse. Nehemiah 5:14-18, modeling costly leadership. See institutional fixes. Later, he reforms temple schedules and foreign marriages. Nehemiah 13, knowing long-term stability requires legal and cultural repair. Nehemiah's governance shows that infrastructure is not enough. Social justice and policy reform are integral to project success. Comment justice if your project has to repair policies. To project rule number 5. Address internal sources of failure. Fairness, policy, and leader example are as important as bricks. Phase 5. Quality control and completion. Nehemiah 6:15-16. Against opposition and in under 2 months, the text says 52 days. Nehemiah 6:15. The wall is finished. Why so fast? Nehemiah's practices ensured speed without sacrificing quality. 1. Parallelism. Multiple teams worked simultaneously. 2. Daily checkpoints. Nehemiah's on-site presence and reporting preserved pace. 3. Final audit. He didn't celebrate until a full inspection and secure posture were in place. The city then celebrated publicly. Nehemiah 12, binding people to the project's outcome. Quality control was continuous, not a final task. Rule 6. Build in parallel streams plus continuous quality assurance. Long-term sustainability and maintenance. Temple reforms and Ezra context. Nehemiah didn't stop at masonry. He enforced spiritual and civic reforms, reading the law publicly, restoring festival cycles, and instituting temple care. Ne 8. Ne 10, Ne 13. The lesson: project success is short-lived without governance and culture change. He coordinated with priests and Levites, enforced tithes, and set custody rules for gates and salt supplies. Project rule number 7. Institutionalize maintenance, train custodians, set rules, and codify protocols. 9. Project management rules. Distilled action checklist. 1. Frame the problem and secure a sponsor. Nehemiah 2. To do discrete reconnaissance. Validate assumptions. Nehemiah 2:11-16. 3. Modularize the work. Assign named owners. Nehemiah 3. 4. Plan for threats. Design security and rotate guards. Nehemiah 4. 5. Protect social equity. Fix policy and model sacrifice. Nehemiah 5. 6. Parallelize tasks and enforce continuous QA. Nehemiah 6:15. 7. Institutionalize maintenance and governance. Nehemiah 8-13. 8. Communicate often and ceremonially. Mark milestones with ritual. Nehemiah 12. 9. Refuse political traps. Keep the mission's integrity. Nehemiah 6. Each rule is backed by the ancient text and modern PM practice. Keep this 9-point checklist handy for your next high-stakes delivery. 30-day implementation plan plus templates. Daily rituals, stand-ups, KPIs. Here is a compact 30-day plan to adopt Nehemiah's model. Week 1. Discovery and sponsor alignment. Day 1-3. Walk the site. Record 10 facts and 3 risks. Day 4. Draft a 1-page problem brief. Secure sponsor buy-in. Day 5-7. Recruit initial team leaders and do a night reconnaissance simulation. Sensitive info. Week to plan and modularize. Days 8-10. Build the WBS work breakdown with named owners. Days 11 to 14, assign resources and finalize parallel workstreams. Week 3, execute and protect. Days 15 to 18, start phased execution, rotate security teams, schedule daily 10-minute stand-ups. Days 19 to 21, hold a mid-sprint review, enforce QA checklist. Week 4, close and institutionalize. Days 22 to 25, complete punch list, prepare governance docs. Days 26 to 30, hold a public milestone celebration and hand over maintenance protocol, case study and modern application examples. Real-world leaders mirror Nehemiah. A startup raising funds for a launch did a one-page problem brief to the investor and secured a sponsor within 48 hours. Rule 1 in modern clothes. Be a city revitalization project, assign neighborhood sections and local stewards. Rule 3 on ownership. See a disaster response NGO, use modular crews to clear rubble and distribute aid. Rotating security teams kept volunteers safe. Nehemiah rule for inaction. These case studies show Nehemiah's approach is not quaint, it's a robust leadership method translatable to any field. Summary: Nehemiah reminds us that leadership is both practical and moral. Scope the problem, recruit local owners, protect the vulnerable, defend the mission, and make sure what you build lasts. Commit today to one Nehemiah rule and start your 30-day plan. If this video helped, like, subscribe, and share with a leader who needs a practical playbook. Build well. Watch next our latest videos on the top right-hand corner. Thank you for watching.